The hippos were. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna go with that crazy lizard.
Our Great National Parks is a docu-series.
Our Great National Parks is picturesque.
Our great national park is eloquently narrated and filmed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to.
But you still can. Yay.
There's some enthusiasm in the air, everybody, because we have a very special guest today. His name is Darth Schuhe.
Yo.
See?
Hey, Darth.
And of course,
special.
Our co-host, you know him, you love him. He's the vice provost for academic affairs. He's also an occasional Star Trek science advisor. By the way, that's at Duke University. It's Dr. Muhammad Noor.
Hello, always a pleasure to be on Fallingtower's Watch the
Yo
First
ho.
of Things. Hey, Darth.
Darth and I always
No,
like to
it's
mention
not.
that you're from Duke University. It makes us feel highbrow. Makes us feel like we kind of
Yeah,
went
yeah.
there sometime.
Air of
Instead of
prestige to us.
community colleges. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I was the vice
Ryan.
nothing at nothing.
Aw.
No.
You're the executive
But I
producer
did it
for
well.
a lot of stuff.
I did it I nailed it. Anyway.
Yeah, top marks.
We are kicking off Family Month. December is Family Month. So get with your family, enjoy the holidays, enjoy these family shows and us reviewing them. If you have a family show that you'd like us to review, make your suggestions in the comments below, but also tell us where we can stream it. Say WTF and the show. So for example, this time you would have said WTF Our Great National Parks on Netflix, and then we would know. So please, before we get started, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you're just listening in, wherever podcasts are found, give us a 5-star rating and a nice comment or review. We'd really appreciate that. If you're just listening in, you guys are missing out. Darth and Muhammad are showing off their mime skills.
We're having fun.
Mhm. All right, let's get up into this thing. First things first, Dr. Noor, where do we go from here?
Now we have a predicament where we predict what each of us thought after watching the show without giving away whether we liked it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Did anybody else think of Megadeth when I said, where do we go from here? Because there's that great lyric, where do we go from here? And should I really care? The end is finally near. God have mercy. That's how he says
I was thinking more like Sweet Child of Mine. Where do we
that's why I was
go
surprised
now?
Ryan didn't go there.
And that's okay. Those are
I
both
was surprised. That was your
very
first
acceptable answers.
instinct.
But Muhammad, I'm sorry that I changed the sub. You are correct. It's my favorite moment. Darth and I have known each other since 7th grade. Quite a long time, too long. Muhammad and I have known each other for a few years. Darth and Muhammad know each other maybe a year or two. So we're gonna predict whether the other person liked this one. Muhammad, I predict you enjoyed this documentary. I think that it was pleasant. I think that you actually learned some things and you were actually interested to learn some of these things. And I think that there were some things that they said that you yes-anded, that you're, yes, that's true. And also this, because they taught us some things. Darth, I predict that you were like, I don't know. I'm just watching this for the show. That's what I predict. I predict that you were like, it was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting, but maybe nature documentaries aren't my thing unless I'm trying to fall asleep. So I think you're going to be very medium on it. Those are my predictions.
Ryan, I think you like this show because I know you like educational documentaries. I've heard you say this before. So in general, I think this is something you're going to be like, yeah, I don't know about the documentary specifically, but more educational shows, especially with a lot of nature. I mean, I know you like that sort of thing. Garth, I think I'm going to be a little more optimistic than Ryan. I'm going to say I think you came away like, yeah, I mean, wasn't something I would have sought out, but I don't regret watching it. It was fun.
Nice.
Interesting. What do you
Um,
think, Darth?
well, I say Ryan, I know is an animal lover, and I know he's a big lover of like cat videos and dog videos. And so
The hippo
that
videos.
being said, I'm gonna say Ryan really what's that?
And the hippo videos in this case.
And hippo, yeah, monkey videos, and yeah, that's actually true. They're most animal videos, so I'm gonna say Ryan was pretty warm on this, and it was very, very beautifully shot. So I think Ryan kind of would be digging that. Muhammad, now I feel like there's people you don't really. It's tough to know if somebody is like into nature documentaries or not. It's not a kind of thing, especially if you're like your relationship is more like a sci-fi based or stuff like that like Muhammad and myself. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of tough to gauge. But if he is a nature documentary guy, I would say he is very warm on it. If that's not a cop out answer, I guess. Can I say that?
Oh, yeah.
Say whatever you like to say.
Yeah, you can pretty much say anything you want, Darth. So we'd rather you didn't, but you could. All right.
Nice.
So those are our predictions. Everybody at home, make your predictions now in the comments below or in the live chat if you're watching live. Do you think Ryan the monkey lover, that doesn't sound right, Ryan the animal nature lover liked this show? Do you think Dr. Noor, the educational guy, liked this show? Or do you think Darth, who hates this kind of stuff, liked this show? Make your predictions now. And while you're making your predictions, take your time. Dr. Noor is going to buy us a little bit of time by telling us what this show is even about.
I will indeed. In this pilot episode, we learn about President Barack Obama's childhood backyard on a bay in Hawaii. And then we peek at an array of wildlife in other national parks in the US and abroad. We see hippos surfing in Gabon, shifakas searching for leaves in Madagascar, Japanese macaques and deer interacting in Japan, bison returning to Yellowstone, sloths with mini ecosystems on their fur in Costa Rica, and crocodiles seeking fish in Australia. Amidst lots of close-up video shots, we also hear about the dangers of global warming and the importance of conservation to medicine and our livelihoods.
All right, everybody, can you believe that? So the point is, Muhammad, what's next?
Oh, this is my favorite part of the show. It's the one we like to call Expectation, or spend a little bit of time what we expected before we watch the show. And a lot more time, I'm sorry, Darth, a lot more time on what we actually getting. What we actually get as we watch.
Still got me, damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. But as I was saying repeatedly last month, reiterating Ryan's eloquence, Ryan likes to say this is where we compare and contrast what we expected with what we actually got when we watched the show. So the first part, we just say what we expected without giving away our perspective.
That's the tricky part.
Yes.
All right. This is still a fun part. This is probably my second favorite, so I'm really excited about this. Dr. Noor, before you watch this first episode of our great national parks entitled A World of Wonder, what did you expect, if anything?
I'd never heard of it before. So very little. I figured it was going to be a documentary because I think somehow either you told me or just figured out it was a documentary. I knew that Barack Obama was in it because of the picture in the very beginning. I actually assumed when it said our great national parks was referring to like one specifically in the United States as opposed to this worldwide. But besides documentary about parks, I really didn't have much else to go on than just that, and that Barack Obama would be in it. I didn't realize he would actually narrate the whole thing. That was
Darth F.S. Schuhe, what did you expect before you watched this entire first episode, if anything?
Well, yeah, like Muhammad, I just went off of the fact that, it's under the category of documentary. So I was like, okay, it's a documentary. Figured it's probably a nature documentary. But yeah, same thing, I guess, because I saw Nation or National, something like that. I figured same thing. I just kind of assumed that it was going to be the United States, national parks, something like that. But that was a pleasant surprise. And I'm not a very political person. Probably the most I know about Obama is seeing different celebrities doing their impressions of him. So it's nice. That's probably the most I've heard Obama speak my whole entire life.
Wow.
So I think he did a good job. I liked it. What was it? So I was not expecting. Yeah, I was kind of expecting. Yeah, a documentary about U.S. parks. That's what I meant to say. That's what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell everybody what I expected. First of all, I had seen our president speak for more than 30 seconds in my lifetime because I live in this country and he was our president for 8 years. That was a lot of years. So I do remember being alive in those years, however hazy they may have been. So I'll tell you what I expected. When I saw what this was, first of all, I'd never heard of it until I saw, right before we hit play on it, I just kind of take a look and I was very excited. It said, "Our great national parks." And my first thought was, this is so cool. When it said "our," I assumed it was going to be American national parks.
Yeah.
Not an expectation, but more of an assumption where, and you see president of our nation. So I thought it was going to be an episode or a show that focused on each national park, like episode 1, Yellowstone, episode 2, Yosemite, episode 3, another thing that starts with a Y, right. And I was really excited for that because I do love nature videos and I do love national parks. And I thought this was going to be really enjoyable. I also feared that it may put me to sleep because nature documentaries are fantastic at the end of the night for helping you to just get into that. They're peaceful, they're pleasant, they're fun, they make you feel one with nature. They're not so gripping.
Relaxing music.
Yeah, they're not so gripping that it keeps you awake, but it's anyway, so I was looking forward to it. That's right, Darth.
How did you pick it? Like, how did you know it existed?
Random.
Oh, well, I think
Google, or did you see an ad?
Googled family shows.
Wow, it came up from that.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that came up from that, but a lot of them were actual shows about actual families, like sitcoms about families.
Family Matters.
Yeah, like Modern Family, stuff like that.
Yeah, Modern Family.
That's right, Darth. So
Mom's Family.
Right. Yeah, Valerie's Family. Let's keep it going, everybody.
Mama's Family.
Let's just keep mentioning family shows.
Everybody in the comments below, let us know another show that has the word family in it. We have
I missed a few.
Modern Family, Mama's Family, Family Ties, Family Matters, Valerie's Family.
Valerie's, Hogan's Family, yeah.
Yeah, they're the same show. Valerie's Family
that's right,
became Hogan's Family.
It's the same show, but still.
All right. Our numbers are dropping so fast.
As we speak.
The point is, that's what we expected, everybody. Yeah. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Pencils down, no more predictions, because we're about to tell you what we actually got, starting with Dr. Noor.
Let me preface by saying I'm not usually a fan of documentaries. So I actually went in a little bit like, okay, let's see how this is. But I mean, I wouldn't say I was like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, the most striking part to it, and I think Darth alluded to this too, was the visuals. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what kind of camera they were using to get those like super close up, super detailed shots of everything, of these animals all throughout. That was amazing. I mean, it was kind of like flipping through National Geographic, but having like Barack Obama describe to you what you're reading as you're going through National Geographic, which like, that's a big win-win. So no, I enjoyed it. It was very sweet. Yeah, again, as I mentioned before, I didn't know. I just assumed it was just going to be, something along the lines of what Ryan was saying, maybe just focusing on a national park this time and then another one next time. But it was kind of jumping around. I did find the flow of ideas was not great. And maybe this is where it's tough, right? Because this is supposed to be what I like to call edutainment. It's not supposed to be an educational show. It's not supposed to be a lesson, right? It's supposed to be something that's engaging you and just lightly giving you a couple of bits of lessons. Just keeping that in mind. But I still found the flow idea tough. Like it would sometimes introduce something and it would just drop it and just move right on. Like, wait, are we going to find out more about this coral reef? Or is it just, why did you mention it? Like you just kind of tossed it in there, or it kind of half start an idea and then moves on. What's that?
Little factoids. Just dropping little
Yeah,
factoids here.
it wasn't even, sometimes it wasn't even a factoid. It's kind of like, here's a cool shot of this thing, and now we're just gonna move on to something else. Like,
Yeah.
okay. But there were definitely
We couldn't cut that footage. We didn't have anything to say about it, but we couldn't cut it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And Ryan was
too cool.
spot on. Ryan was spot on right with the yes and. Like I remember, like for example, it mentioned island dwarfism, and I was like, I don't think he used that term. It said some animals often on islands to be really small. Like, yeah, elaborate on that. And it's just like, nope, moving on. You know, like,
yes, and
you already saw the
on.
little deer. You're good. Moving on. Not talking about why that is or anything along those. Like, moving on. So
just a very quick pause there. Insular dwarfism. Dr. Noor, you are completely right. When I saw that, my first thought was, I've got to find out more about this from you specifically, because they did not do it. But anyway, please continue.
Moving right on. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just as somebody who actually teaches classes, I didn't like that, but I do appreciate that this is not a class, right? So I understand it's not about like, we're going to give you a lesson plan with a preset stuff. I did still feel like the flow could have been better. It definitely felt kind of just kind of almost haphazard, even though it was beautiful. It was still kind of haphazard in terms of the organization. So that I did not love, but I'll stop there for now and I'll move it on to Darth.
Yeah, Darth, what did you actually get?
Well, yeah, my old man was always watching those. Yeah, I kind of feel those nature documentaries and stuff like that, and I kind of feel like, yeah, it does kind of give the vibe of, to me, something that somebody has. Like somebody just wants to have the TV on, but they want to have something. You can kind of pop in and out, look at it here and there. And I also will say that I do feel like a lot of nature documentaries utilize really good lenses, really good camera equipment and everything. So I do kind of feel like you almost come to expect a really high quality picture and everything. But yeah, man, it was beautifully shot and everything, well cut. And yeah, Obama for being assuming. Not, I was thinking it would be fun though if they had somebody that, like a celebrity, like an actor that does a really good Obama impression. He could probably use the money more than Obama, and he probably would give a little more spice, make it a little more lively. It wouldn't just be a regular Obama. It wouldn't be Obama. It'd be like a fun impression of him. But that might have made it a little more fun, a little more exciting. But
you should do it.
Yeah, right. I'll start working on an Obama impression.
Yeah,
it'll be an impression of somebody else's impression.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll tell all y'all what I actually got. I got something like, beautiful. The music at a couple points really was great.
There's like the same. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, they really put in some excellent music at the right points that just would drive the point home. And they were showing, here's the thing, if you've watched enough nature documentaries and animal documentaries, sometimes you go, oh, yeah, I know about the Watusi monkey, great monkey of Madagascar. I know, I learned about that one in the documentary, this other one, So
everybody knows that.
Yeah, sometimes they cover things that they think are super interesting, but others have already covered. But this one, for the most part, covered new things that I really enjoyed seeing. The locations were great, especially like those spiky, rocky outcrops.
I was like, that was crazy.
I've never seen that before. And it's rare that that there's some kind of documentary that shows me something I haven't seen on this stuff, because I love these kinds of shows. Yeah. But yeah, I really...
The flying over landscapes.
That's right, Darth. But I really did not understand why they were so ADD about the topic. They did not give me one topic, or they didn't at least complete it really felt, it felt like, they were just trying to give you a big 60-minute trailer for children to watch so that they could say, look at all these amazing things that are out on this planet.
A little bit of this.
Watch the next episodes to find out more about them, or something like that. But then when I checked, there are only 5 episodes in total. Yeah. So why would you waste the entire first episode
20%
going from place to place to place to place to place? And then presumably, based on the names of the future episodes, they do focus on just one place in future subsequent. I think I didn't really look too deeply, but then they should have just given it a 2-minute intro here, and then say, in today's episode, and then it shows the title at the bottom, the the Great Lakes, or Wazuka National Forest in Rwanda, or something like that.
Liberty Bell.
That's right, the Liberty Bell. That's a great nature video. Anyway, so what I got was
Liberty Bell.
Something that was great in some ways, and a puzzling, I don't want to quite say a waste, but a puzzling, strong misstep where it's like, what are you guys even thinking? What are you guys doing? Didn't make it unenjoyable for me, but it was puzzling and it made it less enjoyable. Overall, I loved it though, because I love this kind of stuff.
Have a good flow.
That's right.
Feels a very like a kind of, it sticks out. It doesn't have a nice flow to it.
Like this show we're doing right now. So
hey, yeah, this is a tribute.
We were good. We had the predicaments and the expectations. We're doing the getcha now. We're good.
Nailing it. So let's first, just real quick, let's knock out the Barack Obama thing. Whenever they have a celebrity narrator, it can be kind of hit and miss. Like sometimes sometimes they just pick a narrator that's what they do for a living. But just like with, animation voiceover, a lot of times they go for the big name. And that's why the regular voiceover people are losing jobs to these big names. Most notably, there was
name on the poster.
That's right, Darth. Most notably, there was, I don't remember what the show was, but a few years ago there was a documentary series. It might have been Planet Earth Part 2 or Planet Season 2 or something like that. They had Oprah Winfrey.
Oh wow! And
God love her.
She needs the paycheck.
She was very bad.
Oh
she was very bad. You could tell she just did not get it. She doesn't watch nature videos, and I felt as though she doesn't actually like animals, because the way she was narrating was not the way an animal lover would narrate. It was the way somebody that doesn't understand animals, doesn't get them, doesn't understand why people like animals delivered it. I could get more into detail on that.
Like the worst person to pick.
Not the worst. She was fine, but clearly didn't get it. Barack did fine. He did great.
Oh, he was good.
Cool. Yeah.
He has a good voice too. I mean, his voice is
it's workable. Yeah, it's very
totally
soothing.
fine. Yeah. I didn't feel like the entire time, it wasn't like this constant on my mind, hey, that's our former president talking. No, it was just kind of blended in. So I thought he did fine. What did you guys think?
Oh, I thought so too.
Agreed.
Yeah, no. I like the connection to his backstory there at the very beginning.
Yeah,
like, I used to grow up here, and this was my backyard, and my grandmother was here. Like, I thought that was really sweet. It was a nice, it had a personal touch to it, but then it wasn't centering him.
That made it feel organic.
What?
That's it. I just want to add in the middle of everybody's thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, so you liked him, right, Darth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Didn't feel like. I did imagine when you're talking about Oprah, like a million voice actors, just like their blood boiling or something. But yeah, he didn't. You don't feel like he didn't dramatize anything, or he wasn't very monotone or anything. It's a good blend. It's made it interesting enough for the kind of for the subject matter.
Plus, it was not just stunt casting, but also somewhat relevant, because you could tell it was something he was passionate about. He connected it as to why this is important to him. Yeah. And it also is relevant to have a president or former president talking about preserving national parks. That does actually fit with what a president hopefully should be talking about. So I thought it was a good natural fit.
Your name to.
How compelling did you guys find that argument? Because I notice people do this all the time. People always talk about the reason we should conserve is like, look, so many medicines have been found in these places. It's always funny to me that is like the primary reason for conserving. But people often push that. I'm just curious about did you guys find that very compelling, or is that?
I actually did. Not for why we should not. I guess I agree with your argument, which is that wasn't compelling for why we should preserve these. How about just for being a good person that wants to preserve things, not to mention it's existential for us and all human life and all life on this planet. But yeah,
that was what I would have used, that latter one. I mean,
but I
No,
did
nice,
find
yeah.
it very interesting when they mentioned that 25% of medicine is found in rainforests, or when they showed the sloth having moss all over him and being his own little ecosystem. That was mind-blowing.
Nice.
That was new to me. I didn't know that. The last time I saw an ecosystem in something so small was Darth's room.
It's true.
But we all have, even us, we all have microbiomes too. I mean, we have little follicle mites and stuff like that living on us. We have all sorts of little things all over us too. I mean, the sloth was clearly an extreme case, so that's fair.
It was amazing. Did you know that already, Mohammed?
I did not know the level of that. I mean, of course, we have microbiomes stuff like both on our skin and inside, but like that level with the moss and stuff on the sloth before, I did not know that.
So moths, cool. And it was fantastic. So I did learn some things, which is always great. I will say, here's my other big nitpick, other than the scattered who wrote this crap. And by crap, I just mean like the structure.
Yeah, exactly.
Lack
thereof outline.
Let us enjoy the show. Like this, I do feel like they were trying to appeal to like 7-year-olds or something.
Yeah.
But
family month.
Toward the end, they went into a little mini lecture about climate change and about global warming and about all that. And I'm like, look, that's cool. That's important. That's great. But that's not why I'm watching this. I want to learn about the mites on the monkey. I want to see the eagle soaring on the white cliffs of South England. I want to see those things. But then when he stops and he goes, and climate change is very important because we have oil, and it just completely takes me out of the fantasy of it. You can just say,
feels like propaganda.
You could just say, or a lecture. You could just say, this animal, this climate or this whatever is being threatened by climate change and global warming, and we get it. We're like, oh, okay, this is something we need to focus on. But then they just completely changed the channel into lecturing us about, I don't even remember what it was, oils or fossil fuels, or I don't remember. I was just like, and I got worried. I was like, oh no, there's like 12 minutes left in the show. Is it just going to talk about, because I'm not interested. I want to watch the animals. I understand what climate change is and how to fight it. That's not why I'm watching this. But luckily they went back into talking about the stuff. So, but again, that felt herky-jerky.
Those two things are connected too, because I think they could have framed the whole thing in that context. Like, let me show you what all is threatened by climate, and just for the whole show, done that and said. But like, for example, did climate change connect at all to the surfing hippos? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't obvious how it did. It was just kind of like that was just tossed in there as like, oh yeah, as long as we're talking anyway, let's just mention this a few times. Okay.
And then it just went into like a little 3-minute mini lecture. About in like 80% of the way of the show being over. It made no sense. And it just took me out of it. Mention it, make the point. And then let's enjoy the nature show.
They just
or
embed it a little too long.
Or embed it throughout and make that like the running theme that's making. One of those two would have been good. Speaking of surfing hippos, like were they actually were they actually surfing? I mean, it just seemed like they were just swimming. They kept on calling them surfing. I'm like, they seem like they're just kind of swimming.
Hanging 10. I don't think they were surfing. I think they were maybe riding the current that, maybe the waves were going slightly north and they took that. So I guess that could be, I mean, they're making it colorful, making it fun, making it like, whoa, hippos. Again, aiming it towards children. Whoa, did you know? Hippos
using the right terminology.
But that's okay because you could tell they're trying to get kids interested. And if that works on a kid to say, whoa, I didn't know hippos can surf. Even if you're kind of exaggerating, if that gets them interested in the subject matter, which gets them interested in conserving the national parks, then it's a job well done, right?
Fair.
Good point.
Yes. Let me ask you guys, what was your favorite location? Let me tell you our options.
Okay.
Because there were a lot. There was
it's all over the place.
Hanauma Bay in Hawaii. There was Loengo National Park in Gabon, west of Africa. There was Madagascar, which is like
Mhm.
an evolutionist dream, like Muhammad. I mean, Madagascar is like the most fascinating place in the world, practically like the
amazing.
Galapagos, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's where I saw
Um,
that rock iguana for like a second, and then like, all right, never mind,
Yeah,
iguana.
that guy was really cool.
Yeah, they just moved on.
Okay.
Out of
Yeah, and
nowhere.
then I was like, "Ooh, let's find out more about this guy."
No, they
No.
just
Move
introduced
on.
something, and it never came back. So
Yeah, like
then
it's the first time photographed.
there was also Yakushima National Park in
Yeah.
southern Japan, and then a little island. There was Yellowstone that we all know. There was a rainforest in Central America. It was called Manuel Antonio National Park.
Costa Rica.
There was the Great Barrier Reef, right? There was an
Like a
island.
second.
Yeah, but then there was like that tiny little island in Australia's barrier reef. Oh yeah, there was also Australia's just
The islands.
north coast. There was Rwanda's Volcano National Park. And they did mention the Rwandan genocide too. Did you hear that? They kind of
I
just
did
snuck
catch
that
that.
in. And I was like, that's a great thing to pepper in. Kids need to look that up too. That's
Yeah.
gigantic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Google it.
So anyway, did you guys have some favorites out of those?
I'm biased because I mean we have a lemur center. It's like a mile and a half from my house where they have
Yeah.
shafox and stuff like that too.
Really?
So I'm biased for Madagascar in that sense because like all this shafox and all sorts of other kinds of lemurs, literally like a mile and a half from my house here. I could walk there easily.
That was pretty beautiful. Man. Australia, Hawaii. Damn, I can't really pick. I don't know. I loved it all.
Dark, did you have a favorite animal then?
The hippos were you know what, maybe I'm gonna go with that crazy lizard, that crazy like what was
Iguana.
he, the stone iguana?
Rock.
He was like looked like a rock. He just looked like a rock. Yeah, that guy was cool.
I thought it looked more like Iran, but whatever.
I
Thank you.
run so far away.
What was your favorite, Ryan?
My favorite location, I mean, I feel like, Madagascar is always one of the most fascinating. I mean, you could just go on forever and never run out of things to study there.
Totally.
The Rain Island, that's half a mile long, but has 1 million green sea turtle eggs in it. I feel like I'd heard that before, but forgot about it. And then I really started thinking about that. 1 million eggs every season in a half a mile little island. Yet for some reason, they just all go there. That was really interesting and fascinating. Not a ton to learn there, just other than that one bit.
Yeah.
So
that was a good climate change thing with the temperature dependent sex determination, making like them all female.
Yeah, that was
now.
an interesting bit.
That exactly, and that was a great point to mention with climate change, right?
Yeah,
you mentioned that one
one
thing, 1 or 2 sentences that hit harder than the entire 3 minutes that they spent on
totally
trying to dumb it down for us.
Totally.
Yeah.
I will say the gorillas maybe interested in me the least because I feel like we've been seeing those in nature videos with Jane Goodall since we were children. So we've covered that
the dawn
one.
of nature videos.
Yeah. It was cool.
It was cute.
But
Agreed.
Darth, was there ever a point where you got bored?
Not really. It's interesting. It doesn't like super draw me in like a say a fictional story or something. But it's captivating. Yeah, definitely. But no, I wouldn't say bored. Definitely not.
What about you, Muhammad? Did you get bored when the crocodiles were eating mullets? And we're not
talking
about
that particular one probably was one of the more boring. Like, okay, so they're eating fish. I guess that's cool.
Giant fish.
Not that exciting. There were a few times where I have to admit, I look at my watch and I was kind of like, okay, because it was I enjoyed it, but it just felt long. Like if the whole thing was like 20 minutes, I would have been like all in. But like in almost an hour, I'm like, oh, this is a long. And I remember at the end thinking like, wow, there's like 4 more hours of this. Like, that feels like a lot.
Wow, yeah. How did they? No, there's nobody that could trim the fat a little bit, huh?
Yeah, right.
That tighter little narrative.
It started to dwindle for me too because they kept going. Like in the first few minutes, I was in love. I was like a pig in shit because pigs love shit. And I was just rolling in it. I was like, I can watch this all night long. This is amazing. But then they would
What was the
switch to another
beginning
thing.
part?
Well, first we were talking about Hawaii with our boy Obama, and
Ah,
then it went into Gabon, which I also
The hippos.
have
yeah.
probably, when it comes to nature videos, have the biggest fascination with Africa because, like any continent, there's so much biodiversity there. The northern part is all desert, basically, almost all. Mohammed knows that there are certain parts that are not all desert, like around
right
the
along
Nile.
the Nile.
But then sub-Saharan Africa is completely different. And then you also have the Savannah and the Serengeti and like all this crazy stuff. So it got really good. But then after a while it started, and then it went to Madagascar, and they handled some polar bears before that, kept going. But then once it got about 2/3 in,
Yeah.
and I was just like, you guys got to just focus on one. You're killing me. Like they just,
Yeah.
and then I actually started kind of looking at, that was the first time I started thinking, how much time is left? Because
I was similar.
yeah, and it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It was just that they weren't letting me enjoy it.
Yeah,
Felt
not
like,
as engaging.
yeah.
It's kind of like a food you like, and you can eat it. You can eat it for a while, but like after a while, you're like, this is a lot of the same flavor. I'm ready for something else.
Mm-hmm. Or if it's like you're eating a cereal, but every single spoonful is a different cereal, right?
Oh yeah.
So after a while, you're like, can I just
one?
eat one cereal? Darth would love that. He mixes cereal.
Do you really?
One bite of this, one bite of that.
Right, Darth? What cereals have you mixed in the past? I know you've done it.
It's been a while, but yeah, I have. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Oh.
Are they like crazy different, like Lucky Charms with like peanut butter crunch? Or
Yeah, no,
like
he
that?
definitely mixes peanut butter cereal with like oat bran or something.
Yeah, so they've already combined all the fun flavors already. It's already a pre-existing flavor. They get so many flavors now.
Oh, we went way off topic there.
Yeah, it was when he used to work at Trader Joe's. He used to mix like the caramel toffee clusters with like the peanut butter puffins and things like that.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, those kinds of cereals. Yeah, here's all the granola bits and flakes and stuff. Yum. Bran and all that fun stuff.
Bran. Anyway, back to the lesson at hand. Mohammed, this is also very interesting to me. Did you learn something? I don't mean just like a little factoid, but did you learn something that actually where you're like, oh, that you will carry with you for the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm. That's the way you said not the fact. I mean, obviously, like the specifics about, say, the sloth's hair and ecosystem on that. Like, I didn't know the specifics on that, so that was interesting. But like a big lesson, I mean, climate change is bad. There weren't that many big lessons, right? Again, it was kind of edutainment, just in the sense of like, look at how cool these things are. Like, okay, yep, they are cool. I agree. I like cool. So no, I guess is the short answer to your question. How about you guys?
Yeah, Dark, did you?
Not really. It's entertaining for sure, but nothing really like sticking in some images maybe. Yeah, like the hippo and the rock lizard. All the guys, the crocs eating the fish and everything. Images, but overall or factoids, no, none of it really stuck in my craw.
Just the way you mentioned those guys, Darth, it made me think, were there any of these animals that you were thinking, oh, I sure would like to go in there and pet that guy?
Yikes. No, definitely not. This is how I like to enjoy nature, is through a screen.
Rude, but some of them love to be pet.
Some really don't.
Yeah. Oh, what did we learn? Yeah, definitely. I think I actually, it's weird, but it actually worked on me in that I took a lot of notes, like a lot of notes, because it almost felt like I was in school, but in a fun way. I realized I was like, boy, if they showed me this when I was a kid, I would have aced that class, because I took more notes on this than anything I've ever taken notes on, because they just kept hammering us with different animals, different names, different places, different factoids. So I got every single thing in there happily, gladly, because I was interested. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, that's cool. How they structured it wasn't great, but every bit of it I enjoyed. that I love them when they were talking about macaques. They're like Darth. But anyway, one thing was when they were talking about Madagascar, or no, it was actually the in the Japanese island, and they mentioned the Sika deer, how they're really small. They're only 3 feet tall, and they mentioned, I don't know if they mentioned dwarfism or if they just, I don't think they'd mentioned it. They just hinted towards it. But we know that there's insular dwarfism. There's this thing where the animals can theoretically either get smaller and smaller or larger and larger based on what's going on. Because if they're in this isolated little island, can you explain what I'm trying to say here, Mohammed? Because this is fascinating stuff.
You just said it. And there's a couple of possible explanations for that. Like one of them is just that, when you have a really small population, strange mutations are more likely to actually get, such that all individuals in a future generation have it. But like an adaptive explanation for that could be that if you imagine a small island often has fewer resources, so it's actually better to be small because then you can actually like get to adulthood and reproduce more easily than if you actually had to grow really big before you could reproduce. So that's one possible explanation.
Right. And then there are other things where like maybe the food source is very high in protein, then those things end up getting really big and muscular a lot of ways. But it's really interesting to see these little isolated islands, or sometimes there are like ecosystem islands that aren't actually islands, like on the top of a plateau, for example, or in the middle, inside of a desert, right? These are like ecosystem type, I don't know what the term is, but they're isolated from other ecosystems so that the animals and the vegetation grow and evolve at a sped up kind of rate.
So Ryan, your point was really interesting. You said you took a lot of notes. I actually took fewer notes than on most shows that are just linked. And it's interesting because you mentioned it's a lot like a class, but I think a lot of the classes that do this, I mean, I imagine most of what you have in your notes is probably, like you said, it's probably like country, park, animal, stuff like that. And that's details. Unfortunately, that's one of the weakest things in most classes, in biology, especially because people often say, I don't like biology because there's so much memorizing. And that always kills me. I'm like, it doesn't have to be so much memorizing. It can actually be about the concept as opposed to just knowing. So the memorizing or knowing that this lives over here, and because people are like, I mean, for this particular thing, since it was so beautiful, it was actually easy to adopt it. But if you're thinking about, like, let's say the names of every bone in your body, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know their own names. Like, it's much more interesting to know like how they work and how they interact and stuff like that than it is to know the name of this and the name of that and the name of that, which is unfortunately the way a lot of classical biology is taught. It's a lot of it like name. Like, you don't need that. Just skip them.
That is pretty
It's like
humorous.
history classes that are like, in the 1874. Yeah. Like, what happened on September 17th? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you gotta? Yeah, it's the boring bits that are tedious.
Yeah. In this case, it was less tedious because they were beautiful, but it still is just like the memorization pieces, which is like
I'll tell you, the reason I took so many notes was actually for the opposite reason that I normally would, which was I already knew most of these things. So I would just take out, like I would say, oh, cool, they have a hippo. Oh, cool, they have a macaque. Oh, cool, they have a rock iguana. Oh, cool, Rwanda. So it was mostly just the name, not because I was learning it, but just to establish that they covered that. But then really, it was, most of these things were just mentions. They wouldn't cover. I'd be excited. I'd be like, oh, cool, they're going to talk about this place. And I'd write it down and get ready, and they'd just move on to the next. They kept tricking me.
Yeah, see, by the time you're done writing the note, they were probably already moved on.
Right. Now, speaking of moving on, I really would like to talk about this much longer because there's so much more to cover, and I love this stuff, and I want to pick Mohammed's brain so he could teach us more things about it. But we have something even more fun to discuss, and that is Darth Schuhe. He is an example of insular, I'm not going to use that, of insular evolution. This man has evolved.
Not dwarfism.
Yeah, I know. I realized where I was going. I was like, wait, that's the wrong way to take that. But this man has evolved from a goofy kid in middle school into a stellar actor that's not goofy at all. Darth.
Toss in a biology thing here real quick. Individuals don't evolve, they develop. I have to
That's
put that
true.
in there.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. Develop.
It's like impossible.
Just Pokemon. They're the only ones that evolved.
um, but Darth, can you tell us what is your favorite thing about acting? Period.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I probably personally like maybe say becoming somebody else, but I would say just being able to like entertain somebody, you know, entertain like the feeling that I get when I'm watching like acting or anything, a story or something. Like, oh man, this is so much fun. I'm getting sucked into the story. Like, man, if I'm able to do that to somebody, you know, like, hey, man, that's super cool, you know, like give somebody some entertainment, escapism, something like that. Put a smile on somebody's face. Yeah.
If
So
if there were somebody, an aspiring actor, that looked up to you and said, "What is the one biggest piece of advice you could give me?" What would it be?
Ooh, I'm dying to know this one.
Take your
stay
time.
loyal, stay true to yourself. Don't lose yourself in the ass, in the crap. Don't lose yourself in the crap. How's that?
And Muhammad was like, "Wow, that was not what I was expecting to
No,
hear."
it's not what I expected either. No. When was the first time you two acted together?
Whoa. Damn,
Good
that's a
question.
good Ryan, you know? It might have been just something goofy that we were doing, messing around with a camcorder, no? Probably.
Yeah, it's got to be
Like a
one of
whole
our like
YouTube.
Fallingtower short films with Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. It
Oh,
may
Yeah,
have
might have
been
been.
our first short film, which was Remote Control.
Whoa.
And I don't know if it's still
Yeah.
viewable on the Falling Tower YouTube channel right now. It may have been removed because way back in the day, YouTube removed a lot of our short videos, which were the whole thing that got Falling Tower going. But then they kept changing like their algorithms and their rules. And if you used a piece of music, third-party music, they removed the entire video. Nowadays, they just say, well, you just can't monetize it, or the monetization goes to the owner. But back then, they just removed the whole thing.
God, yeah.
Yeah, this is like a super, like probably what, like the first year of YouTube, something like that, right? It was like the ground floor.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
was it remote control, Darth? Do you remember?
I think so. It probably that. Or what about World of Warcraft?
That was the
It's probably
second one.
remote control. Huh? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
probably remote control. That
And
was
I
a fun one.
believe that was 2007, I think.
What about the first thing that you guys ran together that you didn't record yourself, like that somebody else was recording?
Excluding
Maybe
Michael
something
too,
Vera?
then, because
Excluding Michael too, yeah.
Maybe something for a class or something like that.
Like
Something for
Renegades or
Vera,
something like that, or is that much?
it was before
No.
that.
Oh, what
I
about
would say.
Time Main?
Oh, Trek Wars.
Trek Wars.
That was a fun fan film that somebody did. That was like kind of a blend of like if Star Trek and Star Wars collided and kind of went to war with each other. And
Some other fun sci-fi elements.
Darth played George Lucas, and I played a rogue Starfleet captain that wanted to kill George Lucas and wipe out Star Wars forever.
Which is interesting. Yeah, playing like your kind of Starfleet villain, like your typical, not really your typical, but they do. It's definitely a character trope in Star Trek. The ranking Starfleet officer that's
Admiral
misguided. Yeah. Kind of has the rogue ideas.
I wasn't misguided.
That must
I
have been
was
a fun
right.
character.
There was great stunts in that film too. We got to do stunts, great fight scenes.
Do our own stunts.
Oh man, it was awesome. It was
Fight
a good time.
choreography. Oh man, yeah. I mean, it was like over the course of like a couple years, but
yeah.
Well, now the strike seems to be done. Do you have any projects coming up there?
Me?
Yeah.
No, nothing on the old pipeline. Something I'm kind of working on, but it's kind of way in the back burner. Something I'm kind of trying to write. But
do you want to talk about it, or is it too preliminary?
I'll just say it's a comedy. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully it's funny. That's all I'll say about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You're a pretty funny guy, so I'm confident.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, be weird, hopefully fans of I'm trying to work on like comedy that hits on different levels, different people's different types of humor, but we'll see. I don't know.
Have you done comedy
That's
before?
tough. I don't know. Ryan and I talk about that pretty regularly. What's funny to one person is not funny to someone. It's tough. It's tough to put your finger on what is funny. It's like not
Sure.
quantifiable. I feel.
No, it's true. It's hard to define. Have you done comedy before? Or is this your first one?
Me?
Yeah.
More shorts and stuff like that. Yeah, or sketches, things like that. Yeah, very short. Not yeah.
Okay.
Easier to achieve stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, I just found the Trek Wars short film that we did. It had been uploaded to YouTube a few years ago, it looks like.
Oh.
No way. See, I know some of the footage was lost.
Oh yeah, that one, this was in the early days of YouTube and all that, and early days of a lot of things. But apparently our buddy Tymaine Clay did end up uploading it to YouTube
so
6
people
years
could check
ago.
This out?
Yeah, check it out. So it just
in the description box?
We'll include it in the description box. But just to see Darth Schuhe playing his hero, George Lucas. There he is.
Whoa, hey.
Look at that.
Look at that full head of hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so natural.
He's reading a rejection letter, and there's a Jedi.
See, spoof to end all spoofs as these legendary forces collide.
Yeah, people could see Ryan and I acting in this one too, which is also fun.
What year is this
acting
from?
like against each other, right?
Oh yeah.
Or playing opposite, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you gotta look at that. You got a young Michael Rosenberg right there.
Yeah, this is a fight scene where I get my ass beat. But
what year is this?
Well, we did it back in 2008, maybe.
2008. So you guys were like 10. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Maybe it was 2000. Maybe it was 2008 to 10, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah, we
let's
weren't
move
even
on.
40 yet. We're like 38, 39, right around there.
We will include that link in the description box below. Everybody go check that out. That should be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to actually watching it too. But yeah, a lot of the footage did get lost. So there are a lot of things that were lost. I think a lot of the stunts and the choreography got taken out and some other things. Don't remember why, but there's something there. So should be fun. Let's move on to that's it. Muhammad knows. The terrible twos, the final two questions of the show, and they go a little something like this.
Hit it.
Question number 1. Dr. Noor, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate our great national parks?
I'll give it a 7. I mean, I liked it more than I feared I might, but it was not great at completely holding my attention. I mean, I will say this again: the visuals were absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. The organization, much less so. But I love seeing Barack Obama too. I mean, he's an amazing narrator, an amazing guy. So that was definitely a plus.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Darth? Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of our great national parks?
Yeah, I would like to give it a 7 as well. Barack Obama's narration and the way it was shot and everything was beautiful. But yeah, obviously not without its flaws. So yeah, I would like to give it a little bit of a higher mark based on its prose. But yeah, I'll take it down a little bit and give it a 7 just because of those flaws that it had, those major flaws that it had.
My favorite kind of flaws is mint flaws. Really get him, between the two. Well, myself, I actually ended up liking it less than I expected, or less than I started to like it. Like I really was in love at first, and then it, start off at like a 9, then it kind of dropped down to an 8, and now out of principle, I refuse to go any lower than a 7.8. Although but that's just it still had great shots, beautiful music, and they also found stunning things to cover. Like they were covering great stuff. They weren't just talking about, the squirrel in my back, like like you could do a nature video on squirrels and mountain lions here in Los Angeles, for example. But they really found faraway places and showed us some things that we've seen before in a beautiful way and some things that we've never seen before in a beautiful way. And so
amazing camera zoom.
Amazing. What on that sloth? I was like, is that CGI? Did they really just do that? Shocking.
Those guys are getting in there.
Top-notch production value. It was just whoever structured it, whoever produced this thing and laid it out, really, I think that they made a mistake there, but whatever. So 7.8 from me. It was still, I'll still watch. Well, I won't go that far, but I still enjoyed watching the hell out of this nature video. Well, I was going to say, I'll still watch the hell out of nature videos and enjoy them all, you know, but I don't want to give too much away there. So, because question number 2 is along those lines somewhat, which is, for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of our great national parks. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Mohammed Noor, would you of your own volition watch the second episode?
Realistically, no. I didn't hate it. Like as you like to say, Ryan, I'm not mad that I watched it, but realistically, I'm like, click on that one. Like, it's not going to happen. If it was in the room and somebody else had left it on, I might still change the channel. But like if they were still there watching it, I probably would watch it. But on my own, probably not.
Wow. Even the biology professor says, nope, thumbs down to this.
Not good. Not an endorsement.
What about you, Darth? You were a chemistry
major.
Professor, if I
but only
correct.
for 15 years. Yeah. So before I retired,
would you of your own volition watch the second?
I was gonna say kind of along the lines as Mohammed. No, I would definitely not put it on myself. But I would say if somebody had it on, like it would probably draw my eyes, and I probably would get sucked in a little bit. But you know, not enough to where like, oh, I gotta see. Wait! I gotta see this part.
What about if you were really? What about if you were really high?
Like, whoa! Oh man! Oh damn! I can't pull my eyeball. Nah, I probably wouldn't grab my interest though. I don't know.
Some of the greatest memories of my life was watching nature videos after school. We'll just call it that.
Oh, okay. So, what were you going to say next?
You know, when you want to just relax and be with nature and go, whoa, what? Did you see those rams button heads? Whoa, look how violent they are. They're crazy. Anyway, so.
And that was before the streaming days too, when you would just flip the channel. That was what was on, would be a nature show. So
Wild America at 3:30 p.m. on PBS with Marty Stauffer. Yeah. Anyway, remember that guy? I'm Marty Stauffer.
Super familiar.
Until next time, enjoy our Wild America.
That's it. Yeah, my dad was always watching that.
Dad's a good guy. Anyway, so for me, yes, I would watch the second episode, even if the second episode is a mess structurally like this one. I'll still enjoy it. I won't probably focus on it completely. Maybe I will. Maybe it'll draw my attention. But I would. I don't know if I will, but I definitely would. It might be the good toothbrushing show. I like to say something that you put on at night when you're just getting ready for bed. You're folding laundry or you're getting something done or you're brushing your teeth. You just kind of have something on, and sometimes you stop and you look and you watch and you go, you kind of forget what you're doing for a minute, you know, stop brushing your teeth. But yeah, and I do think, because when I looked ahead, I'm like, how is this sustainable? Are they just going to keep going all over? I think that the subsequent episodes do focus on one place.
Good. That's good.
But then I'm like, then why did you do this with this first episode? It makes no sense. Or maybe if there are going to be 50 episodes, sure, have this first one covering everything. But there are only 4 more episodes. Why is the first one so weird? Anyway, but yes, I would.
I saw one was narrated by Bill Clinton, and then there's another one I think is narrated by Donald Trump. So those ones are going to be interesting.
Yeah, the conservationist Donald Trump. It's going to be bigly. All right. So good stuff, Darth. Very funny. Well, we know which president will not be narrating this. Abraham Lincoln.
Ooh, most likely not.
No. That's it.
An impressionist.
Let's get out of here. Everybody remember, if you'd like us to review a family show, in the comments below, just suggest that show. If it's another docu-series, if it's another family-oriented show that's in the family genre, whatever it is, enjoy December with us. It's going to be a fun time. Please make sure you like, subscribe, 5-star rating, and all that good stuff. And we'll try to remember to include that Trek Wars link in the description box below so you can watch us acting in our first acting gigs, or at least together. I think that was the first role I auditioned for and got. The first film role I auditioned for and got. Not the first role I got was for play, but the first role that I auditioned for and got for a film was this one, in fact. All right.
Nice.
Let's get out of here.
That's what we're checking out.
What I'm trying to say is this podcast was natural.
This podcast was us being wild in America.
Yeah. This podcast was off the chain.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Thanks very much for joining. Remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say.
Don't forget to be an organ donor, and don't forget to watch The First of Things.
All right, everybody. Freeze frame like your favorite animal in the show. Wow, Darth was ready for it. He did the... wait, hang on. Let me think.
You're like, shoot.
Our Great National Parks is a docu-series.
That shitty smile.